This is episode number 30 of the Riff Tacos podcast. My name is Paul Misco, and today you're going to be just hanging out with me. I figured number 30 would be a great solo episode. I haven't done one in a while, and I've been wanting to do more in general. So I wanted to take the opportunity to talk a little bit more about my history and how I got here, what I do for a living, just so you could get to know me a little better, and just kind of whatever else comes up along the way. Also, stick around to the end to hear about a new project I'm working on with Mike Ilich, vocalist of Robinson and ThunderRider. We have something new cooking, and I'm stoked about it. So this is Riff Tacos with fucking me. So I just hit record and I got a text from Nick that said, heard an amazing Southern phrase today that about put me in a coma, and in quotes, damn, she ugly, looked like she caught fire and they put her out with a chain. He says, read it in a hillbilly accent. Damn, she ugly, looked like she caught fire and they put her, I can't even fucking do it. And they put her out with a chain. I love sayings like that. I wish like Southern people and like, I don't know, like they just have such a cool vocabulary of like funny and like smart, sarcastic things to say for any moment and anything that happens. And I love that shit. And I wish I was cool and was that funny. But I'm stoked to do a solo episode. It's been a long time, and it's a cozy rainy day in Ohio. So I hope wherever you are listening that it's somewhere cozy as well. Grab a drink and hang out with me. Or if you're at work or it's like a long drive or something, hopefully I can make it a little more enjoyable. That's what I love about podcasts, and it's like a big reason why I started one in the first place, because I listen to them all the time, and it's great because it's like I can listen when I want to be engaged and like learn something or hear about something cool that's happening, or if I'm just like doing nothing and I just want something on in the background that's like super chill and relaxing to just hear people talking. And I put one on when I work and stuff too. So I wanted to contribute to that because I really enjoy it and all the time and hard work people put in to create content and podcasts in general. And doing everything myself, I realize, how hard it is and how much goes into it and to promoting it and making it something viable, because I would love for this to be like a job for me later on, or at least a part-time job. But I'm really enjoying it. I love meeting people and talking, and it's just been great. One thing that I wanted to mention real quick that I haven't posted about, my girlfriend did, but we lost our cat, Harvey, and you may have seen him on here. He always would pop in and sit on my lap. He was the black cat that we had. He was 14 years old. We had him forever, longer than most of our friends have had kids. So like he was our kid because we don't have children. So I loved him to death, and it was kind of a sudden passing. So it's been a really hard 3 weeks, and I just wanted to mention him. So R.I.P. Harvey, love you and miss you. Moving on to the nerdy side of me. I don't know how much I've mentioned it on here, but I'm a big gamer, and I don't play as much as I used to when I was younger because I don't have the time. But like I love survival games. I think like Minecraft was the first kind of game in that genre that I played, and that one's like really easy because it's more like for kids, but that kind of opened me up to that world. And I played Ark, the like dinosaur survival game, that like sucked me in, and I put in probably 1,500 hours over the years. Played that, 7 Days to Die, and so many I can't remember, all the broken ones that were suggested by my friend Jake. So shout out to Jake because he's always got the best suggestions, and we have fun whether the game is in early access and broken or not. But the newest suggestion from Jake is Cubic Odyssey. Worst name ever. But if you are a fan of like No Man's Sky or like space games like that and Minecraft, it is the perfect combination. Like it looks and plays exactly like Minecraft, but it's like a giant universe of like, I think it was like 1,400 planets. Don't quote me on that, but like some of them are the size of Minecraft itself. So like it's just insane. You can like build a ship and fly anywhere you want and go to space stations and trade with people. And there's like a story mode, and you can kind of go into like, is it called the Nether in Minecraft? I think, but you go in, it's like kind of like Oblivion. You go in these portals and close them because this thing called the Red Darkness is like coming through. And so we've been nerding out on that. I'm stoked to play it later tonight with my other buddy, Nick. So if you're into games like that, definitely check out Cubic Odyssey. Just please change the fucking name because it sucks. But really well made game for being brand new and like nobody knows about it. They had like less than 1,000 followers on X last time I checked. Um, but yeah, kind of getting into my past and how I got here and do the things I do. One thing real quick too, like I've had a number of people like who I talked to about like the band social media that I do like for FASWA and for this, and like have asked me like, who do you have working on your social media or your clips or, you know, whatever, like, do you have a team or something? And it's like the best compliment ever. Cause I don't, it's literally all just me. And that's what I do for work. So I kind of have the process down already, and it's been really cool to like do it for something for myself and for things I like finally, rather than like doing it for a client or someone else's business. But yeah, I've kind of gathered all these skills over the years, doing that for a living. And I kind of wanted to start at the beginning of how I got there, because I came from being this like broke kid who played music. And when the band ended, I didn't know what to do with my life. And it all kind of started like the year that ThunderRider came together before I moved to California. And how that band kind of came about was like from a Second Story Window broke up. This was 2008. And right away I said, I got to get the fuck out of Ohio. I got to go somewhere where there's like more shit happening. And just to like, you know, going on tour gave me the confidence to kind of go, yeah, I can move anywhere I want. And I've seen all these cool places and we made this happen. Why can't I make other things happen? So I had no money though, and I had to get a job. So being that I had nothing to fall back on when the band broke up, I just got a telemarketing job here in Ohio. And our friend Ken, he had a house that was like down the street from my job. And Mike Ilich, singer of Robinson, a ThunderRider, he lived there. And I had no place to live except for my mom's house because I couldn't afford rent. And I was like, if I'm going to move, I need to save as much money as possible. So I'm willing to live at my mom's for this final year here to save money and be able to move. Because if I paid rent, it would take me forever. And Ken was nice enough to say, hey, like, you want to live here with us and your rent can be just mowing the grass and start a band with me. And I was like, okay, that's a good deal. So I don't have to live at my mom's house, and then I can save the money to move. So, and it would just be 1 year. So shout out to Ken and thank you. He was the bassist in ThunderRider. And that's kind of how this all started. Was he was playing drums and Mike Ilich was playing guitar, singing. And Mike had started writing some riffs. I know they were just kind of like jamming in the basement. And then so when I came down there, I was like trying to get the vibe of, you know, what they wanted to do. And it was kind of like a heavier Clutch type band, which I'd never written anything like that. Just like dirty, you know, whiskey drinking, cigarette smoking, rock and roll. And I was like, this will be really fun. It's way simpler than what I've done. We could probably put it together really quick, and just started writing stuff. And then one day, Nick Huffman, drummer from Second Story Window, he came over and he was just jamming on that kit. I think Ken asked him to like tune the drums for him so they would sound better. And then when he's playing, we're all just kind of standing there like, well, like, Nick's so fucking good. Should he just be the drummer? And Ken was a bass player previously. Like, that's what he does. So we're like, the four of us were just standing there like, well, we have a band right here. Why don't we just do that? And that's how it started. And the whole vision of the band kind of came from Mike. He came up with the name. He did the logo, the artwork, and everything. And prior to that, I had been that guy in every band, which is where everything kind of started for me for work. Was I would always be the guy doing like the website, the MySpace, the T-shirt designs, like whatever. Mike did do a lot of that in Robinson though too. I forgot about that. He designed the Bird EP and like whatever. But I always had a hand in things, and I liked being involved because it was just really fun and cool to me. But yeah, so we wrote like 10 songs, and it was great. You know, because we kind of had that shock, like John Hunt from Dead to Fall and Chad, he even talked about it too when he was on here. Like, when you tour for so long, and even though we weren't like in a huge band or anything, that was our only job. And we eventually thought, you know, this will lead somewhere and we will be able to make money and survive. So, you know, when the band suddenly ends and you have no job and no life and no anything to go back to, it is a shock. And you're kind of like, wow, I went from going to all these places and touring and everywhere, and everything was at least free if you weren't making money. to like, I have nothing and I'm going to get a telemarketing job. So that was actually the first time I had a fucking panic attack in my life. Was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I'm like working this job I hate. I'm barely making much money. And luckily ThunderRider made it fun, and it gave Nick and I something to do after the band ended. And then, Mike has always been a very talented, writer and singer. So it was just great for all of us to do that. And Ken was stoked to be a part of it and work with us. So we wrote 10 songs, put together the concept for the album, started playing just local shows. We never thought, let's go on tour or anything. We never played outside of Ohio. But people around town loved it, and it was just really fun. It was just fun to go drink at the bars and hang out with people and play with other similar bands. We played this band Album, who's still around, awesome Youngstown band. You should go check them out. But it was great. And it was my first time trying to write anything that was blues based, because like I came from nu metal, and all of Robinson and From a Second Story Window was very dissonant and chromatic, and we could just make up chords. And this, I actually had to, like, if you want it to sound bluesy, you have to know at least the minor pentatonic blues scale or whatever. I didn't know shit. I still don't know shit. I just make it up as I go. But I did learn a little bit, and it all just kind of came out. And because we didn't ever play that kind of shit before, it had its own unique sound. And also, side note, that is on streaming now. Finally, I got it up after Mike was on. And then, funny note about that. So when we recorded, there's one song that has an actual like solo in it, and I could not write solos, and I sucked at playing that kind of shit. So when I did it, we put down this version, and we are like, later we'll go back and make it better, or whatever. And then eventually this guy Chris Wilson, he took my place when I moved away. I was like, he's a really good blues guitar player, and we decided, like, let's have him come in and re-record that solo, and that it'll actually be good. So he did that, and that's what was on the final recording and what we put out on CD. So when I uploaded these tracks, I got them from Mike, and he sent me like whatever masters that he had, and we just put them up. I didn't listen to the songs, and somehow the old version with my terrible, like, just laughable solo is out there on streaming right now. So I've resubmitted the correct version. So they told me it would be 3 to 4 weeks. But the correct version will be up there eventually. But right now, if you want to hear it, go look up ThunderRider. It's all one word, self-titled record. And it's track 2, Beard Mountain. An awesome song. It's like Mike's favorite song. And it would have been like the single off that record had we, done singles or music videos or anything. But the solo is so fucking bad. It sounds like it's a joke, or it's like a scratch track that I just like put there. We're like, oh, later we'll get back to it. So so funny and embarrassing that made it out there. But go listen to how bad I was at writing solos. Beard Mountain, track 2. Also, shout out to the Heavy Music, Heavy Dads podcast, and specifically RJ. He heard that after it came out, and he's super into that shit, like stoner rock, clutch, whatever type of rock and roll you want to call it. But he was like super fanboying about it on the podcast. So thank you so much. We're going to send him some merch, whatever we can dig up. I don't think we have shirts anymore, but we do have the original CDs we printed and posters and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't heard that podcast, check it out. It's HMHD, Heavy Music, Heavy Dads. They just drink beer and listen to awesome bands and promote bands. And it's really cool. Great podcast. But yeah, so after that year, we got to the end of that band, or not the end of the band, the end of me being in the band. Chris Wilson took my place. Eventually, Rob Heilman from a Second Story Window, he joined shortly before I left too. So they had that new lineup. And then I had saved up my money. It was time to move to California. I had no fucking plan. And I think I had saved like $5,000 or $6,000, which, back then was a little bit better, but still, like, you're moving across the country with no job lined up or anything. That's not going to go very far. So I knew I had a limited time to figure something out and find a job. I only knew one person, my good friend, Zach Albright. We call him Zacho. He lived out there at least a year or two already. And I was going to live on his couch for a couple weeks until his lease was up. And then we were going to get a new apartment. And also his now wife, Talia, moved out there a little bit after I did. So we were all roommates, and we got our first apartment together there in Hollywood. Shithole fucking building. But it was so much fun, because you're like living the dream. Like, every Ohio person wants to move to fucking California for some reason. And then I actually like did it and made it happen. So I was like really stoked. I think I was 24 or 25 at the time. But yeah, I got the first apartment, started searching for jobs, and my only history other than the band was working at like telemarketing places. I did like landscaping for like 1 month in the summer, but the dude who ran the company was an asshole, so I quit. Um, so I found an ad, I think it was on Craigslist for like telemarketing, blah, 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 whatever it was. And I kind of don't want to say the name of the company. Just, I don't think there would ever be any legal repercussions, at least not to me, because I was just a person on the phone. But there, it was sketchy. And they pretended to be a production company, and they would call people and get people to invest in movies that were never made, but they would sign contracts that protected them. So they would basically just steal money from people. And it's like, maybe some of them, or, they would have made it if it worked out, but they would have like actors' names loosely attached because they knew somebody. And, you were basically the guy on the phone calling, going, I'm a production assistant on this movie that we're working with, and so is going to be in it. And we're reaching out to, accredited investors to get you to invest, and I can put you in touch with the executive producer. They're really busy on set, but if you'd like to talk with them, I can set up a call. And some of these people would actually take the call and put in like $100,000 or something, thinking, oh, someone in Hollywood is making a movie and I'm going to be a part of it, and I get an executive producer credit for putting in money. But none of them were ever made, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, it was just a giant scam. And meanwhile, like, there is no set. I'm sitting there in a fucking cubicle calling people, but I needed to survive. So that was what I did. And then I did one more of those that was like this, basically the same thing, but it was like a real estate scam. And they did actually have properties and shit, but I think they knew that it was likely no one was ever going to make any money. But that was my first job in Hollywood, or not. That was in Sherman Oaks, out in the Valley. So after that, I was like, I got to do something like creative. I came out here to like try new things and try writing shows or acting or whatever. I just wanted to do something creative and be somewhere where shit was happening and there was actually potential to make money and do something cool with my life. In addition to just California's beautiful and it's fun and there's a beach and, it's awesome. But yeah, so I started like realizing, hey, I have all these skills from the band. Like, I can do Photoshop. I had experience running the MySpace page, and like Facebook had just come out at this time, I think. And there weren't even business pages. There wasn't an Instagram. There wasn't a TikTok. It was all just brand new. But I knew that like this was going to be a thing, and there probably would eventually like be businesses promoting their products and shit on here. So I had that idea really early, and that's how I got into social media. And I started just putting out ads. I'm a social media manager, which was like a new title. All of this was brand new. So no one knew what the fuck was going on, but I knew that I could figure it out, and I would do the best I could for someone if they decided to, hire me and they became my client. So I did get a couple people. I ran their Facebook pages, and I could design graphics and, ads and whatever. And it actually went pretty well, but it was really hard at first to sustain. So I kept one of those telemarketing jobs. They let me work from home. It was commission only, but I got to start this on the side. And then not long after, I got hooked up with, through a Craigslist ad, the company I'm still working with to this day. I'm technically a freelancer with them, but it is steady work. And they're a PR company based in LA. They've been around forever. And so they would bring on clients that need social media work. And that's how I got into doing that. And I would be assigned to work on accounts. And they liked the fact that I could do graphics and whatever. And later I learned how to edit videos and stuff. And just over time, I just build a skill and learn something new and make myself more valuable. And whenever, work was slow with them, I would fill in the gaps with, build a website for somebody, do a logo, whatever, and just build up experience over time. So that's kind of how I got to what I'm doing today. And my dream was always to work from home, so I could work on music on the side or whatever creative thing I was trying to do and not worry about if that made me money. So it's like I could truly just work on it for me and not tailor it to for any reason that it needed to be marketable or whatever. Just I could do my passion project, but also have my job working from home and just have that freedom. And I've been able to do that, I think, since 2013 now. So it's been 12 years that I've been working from home and like living my dream that I always wanted. So it is very tough at times. Things are slow, but I don't have kids to pay for, and I don't spend money stupidly. I'm good at saving. So that's how I've been able to make it work this whole time, and how I've been able to do all this stuff for the podcast and the band and make it look as professional as I can. So I'm happy with my work. Always want to do better, but yeah, so that's kind of how I got here. In between that, I did have a couple other things I did. I worked for a video game company because I've always been into video games. I got hooked up with this dude who was, I don't remember what his position was, but he was just kind of like the guy who met with investors and stuff and kind of managed things. But they were called Ponit, PWNIT, and it was run by like three guys or two guys and just me. And I got in at the very beginning, and I basically was the same thing. It was like I managed the website. We did contests on social media for video games where you could upload your clip, and this was still really in the early days of all this. I think it was like 2014 or 15. So they were one of my clients, but I became like a big part of it. And had it gone really well, I would have had like probably a permanent position in the company and would have just done that. But it was really, really cool. We got to work with like Battlefield, and we had celebrity guests like judges. I got Jason Mewes to do a contest, and my friend out in LA, who else was on it? Oh, I can't fucking remember, but it was really cool. I was really proud of it, and I was stoked to work in video games. But that didn't pan out, so that was a bummer. And then I also did the telemarketing thing came into play one final time, where I worked for this company called Camp Jam that did summer camps for kids. And he hired me originally as a salesperson, to like, you call up parents like, oh, Johnny came last year, does he want to come again? And you sign him up and they pay over the phone. And so I was a salesman there, and I did a really good job, I think, because I was comfortable finally selling something that I knew was real and I believed in. And I also knew music and played in a band. So everyone there was a musician too, which was cool. It was a really small office down on Sunset Boulevard, right in the middle of Hollywood. And so I did that for a couple of years. He eventually sold the company, and it was originally called Power Chord Academy. Then Camp Jam bought it out, and then I got to work from home again for there, and I was doing freelance on the side. So it's been kind of jumping back and forth until I was able to keep it full time. One cool story about working at Power Chord Academy. So that office we had on Sunset Boulevard was right in the middle of everything. I rode my bike there every day. It was really cool lifestyle. And I kind of forget about that sometimes. I was there for 8 years. But one day we get a knock on the door, and go answer it, and it's fucking Ben Affleck. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So he basically didn't really say much to me. The guy he was with kind of talked to me, and he was like, we're shooting a movie. You know, the owner of this office is allowing us to rent it, which my boss never told me that they were going to be coming that day, but they came to check it out for a movie they were shooting. And I can't remember the fucking name of the movie right now. But they completely redid the office and decorated it. So we got moved to a different office temporarily, but they shot this Ben Affleck movie there. And you can't even tell it's our office because of the way they designed it for the movie, but they just needed like a cheap, small space and just happened to rent it out. So that was fucking crazy. He just walked in, and I'm like, oh my God. I don't think he was Batman yet, but I think back, I'm like, oh, fucking Batman just walked in, and he had his like big beard at the time. But so that was really cool. Really cool moment living there. I had a lot of those over the years. Like really, I look back on those times of living in California. Like it was really awesome. It was everything I wanted it to be. I didn't expect to leave and live in Texas, but I'm glad that happened too, because Gladys wanted to leave and go back to her home state, and ended up living in Austin and having a blast there. So I may end up back there next year. We'll see. But for now, still in Ohio. And it's been a really nice break from being in a city and kind of just chilling and being close to the guys again and practicing right down the street. I'm 5 minutes from where I grew up. And I don't know, it's really calm here. I don't see like anyone in my neighborhood. It's quiet as fuck. And it's been a nice break from living in LA and then Austin. And also the fucking heat in Austin or in Texas in general just fucking sucks. But yeah, so that whole long-winded story is how I am able to do the podcast and do everything myself and do all the stuff for the band, and how I ended up working from home and have the extra time to kind of do these things and work on music and all that. So that's how I got here. And I'm punching in here to mention a couple things I forgot. So I wanted to do something creative in LA. Like I started trying to act, and I went to a couple classes and hung out and just like watch, but I didn't do anything. Like I didn't actually go up on stage and like perform in the class. I was like very embarrassed to like do that. But I did like study a little bit and take auditions. I got an agent for a little bit. And so I was going out and like auditioning for things. One of the first things I booked when I started going to auditions was this web series called Pumpkin Morgue. And it was like the comedy version of like Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, where we're basically making fun of that stuff. And it was like a group of us, and we come in to someone's house who said they have a ghost, and we're investigating it with all of our gear and stuff, and we stay for the night. And just funny shit happens. It's probably out there. I don't know if it's on YouTube, maybe Vimeo or something, but that was really fun. It was like my first time getting to work on something, and everyone was down to earth and just awesome. I was in like a couple music videos, like small things that never saw the light of day. And then probably my favorite thing we did was I was in a horror movie. It was like a B horror movie with Gladdy. And I auditioned. She had already got her part, and the director was looking to fill a role, and I think she was kind of friends with him already or something. So she felt comfortable going like, "Hey, can my boyfriend like audition for this part?" Because it was also like her boyfriend in the movie, and he was like, "Sure." So I went over to his house and like did a reading with him, and he just said, "Yeah, you got it," like right there. So I was like, "Okay, sweet." So they had more money than anything that I'd worked on. It wasn't like a huge movie or anything, still like really small independent film, but like they had money to go out to Big Bear and film in the woods and put everybody up in cabins and stuff. So that was like my one like real movie experience of being on set, getting covered in fake blood, getting my guts ripped out by like this monster. It was literally called Monsters in the Woods. It's out there on, I don't know what streaming services. It might be on Amazon Prime or something. But yeah, so that was the one movie I'm in. If you want to see me act terribly, you can look up Monsters in the Woods. And what else did I do when I was out there? I forget. I acted in a bunch of like little tiny things, like, you know, student films and stuff that you couldn't find, but it was really cool. And it was just like, I wanted to replace music in my life. And there was actually an opportunity to make money with like acting and doing commercials and shit like that. But over time, I realized it wasn't really for me, because I didn't have the same passion for it. And there's a million fucking people in LA who want to be actors more than anything, more than I did, and putting in the work, going to classes, learning multiple languages, taking stage combat. They're going to class every week. And like, I don't know, I just felt like it felt right for me to just go, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to step down and go try something else. So yeah, like you need another person like me clogging up the audition room who like isn't serious about it. But at least I tried, and I did do it, and it was fun. But like everything you hear about like California and Hollywood and like the way things work and is who you know, like all of that's true, and it is all like that, and it's very gross. So that was another reason I kind of like wasn't feeling it. So being the independent, musician, independent minded musician, I was like, oh, let me just fucking do my own thing. So I'm gonna write a show, and I always knew like I wanted to do comedy, whether it be acting or writing or something. So I took a stab, having no idea how to write a script, at writing a script or like a pilot presentation for a show that was a comedy based in a tattoo shop, basically the same style as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So if you could just picture that show, but instead of a bar, it's a tattoo shop, same kind of humor. And just, you could have characters. We had like three dudes who worked in the tattoo shop who were tattoo artists who had different personalities. Then you had the owner who was like the funny guy who would come in and yell at us. And then, later I wanted to add like a crazy piercer chick, and like, there was so much you could do with it. So I wrote the pilot presentation. Gladdy really believed in it. So she was like, I'll help you out and produce it. So we put it together ourselves, and never really got funding or anything. We used our own money, I think, and called in a lot of favors from friends who like, my friend Chris Abbey, he shot it. Who else worked on it? Fuck, I can't remember right now, and I feel really bad. But like I think the only guy we paid was the sound guy, because that was important. We rented out a tattoo shop. We paid a little bit of money just for a couple hours so we could have a real tattoo shop. Rented a car for a scene. Shot in downtown LA for at this building that let us use it for free, I think. And so we put it together and cut it, and I tried to pitch it. And I don't think it's out there it might be on Vimeo to look, but it's called Classy Inc. And I probably like cringe at everything now, but like I'm glad I did it. So like I have a pilot that I acted and directed and wrote in, and tried to pitch it. And I took a meeting with someone that said he was from Comedy Central. They ended up not being. Like it was the most like Hollywood thing of a guy flexing, going, yeah, come meet with me on Wednesday and we'll talk about it. I think your show's got legs or whatever. And I go in like and meet with him, and he's like, I'm not actually the guy who's part of Comedy Central. I know the guy who knows this guy who can, probably get you a meeting. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? So that was another reason I was like, I'm fucking done with this. I just want to move on. And so then after that, I kind of pulled myself away from all that shit. And I was like, this might just be not be for me. I don't want to jump through those hoops and play this game. I don't love it that much. And then I ended up playing music again. I mentioned this band before on the podcast, I think once or twice, but I was in a pop punk band. It was kind of like heavier, like A Day to Remember type shit, easy core, whatever it's called. And that I really liked. It was really good. It was a nice breath of fresh air from the metal stuff. And our singer, Josh, was really good. He was a great writer. He had a great voice. He had that like pop punk voice. And I really think that had we had stuck with it and, tried to get on Warped Tour or whatever, like that band had a chance to do something. But like most bands that, just fizzles out and someone doesn't come to practice anymore. And then, everyone gets mad and people want to do different things and it just ended. But there is a music video we did that is super high quality. Shout out to my friend Isaac Heckert, who helped us shoot that, put it together, and he directed it. And it looks like we had a good budget for it. It's called What Say You Potentials. It's on YouTube. And it's just a fun pop punk music video with like a water balloon fight and hot girls in a backyard. And then, we have the stereotypical like warehouse scene where the floors are wet and there's like cool lights behind us. But that I was really proud of and stoked to be a part of. And I can't believe we pulled that off. So thank you, Isaac, and everyone else that helped us on that. But yeah, so that was kind of the end of my creative journey in LA. And then I was just working and working. And then, yeah, so we moved to Austin, lived there for 7 years, and then ended up back in Ohio. Wanted to mention the playlist too. So it's been really fun. If you've listened to recent episodes, I started asking every guest to submit a song to the Riff Tacos Spotify playlist, and it's growing nicely. It's all kinds of genres. I'm going to put a list together of who chose what, because I know it's not really helpful to just look at it, but I'll probably put that on the website, rifftacos.com. It does exist. There's not really much reason to go there other than to sign up for my email list right now. So side note, yeah, sign up for the email list and you'll get notified about everything I'm doing. Right now, it's just kind of like, episode notifications and stuff. I won't spam you every week a million times, but you'll know about merch drops and shit when I finally do those. But yeah, the official playlist, just Riff Tacos official playlist on Spotify. And I added another song today, which I'm a couple weeks late with how fast the fucking cycle moves now on social media and stuff. But Scornful Woman from Anthony Oliver, just amazing song. Like, goddamn, the fucking lyrics in that. It's just so powerful. And the dude is doing a fucking fiddle solo in it. The one line before like the chorus, what does he say? It's like, court says 50-50, but the math don't seem right to a scornful woman. It's like, ooh, shit. He went through some fucking shit with his wife or whatever happened. I don't know the story, but seems like a cool guy. I know he was on Rogan recently, but love his music, amazing voice. So yeah, I'll be adding one song per guest every week, asking them to submit anything, and it could be anything. You could be a cool song that they just like, something inspired them, something that's meaningful lyric wise, whatever. But I thought that'd be neat, and it's going to be really cool as it grows, over the years. So look out for that on the website soon. And yeah, please sign up for the email list, rifftacos.com. Going forward, speaking of like merch and stuff, there's like a number of things I want to do. And obviously with doing everything already, my time is limited. So I'm kind of adding one thing at a time. One thing a lot of podcasts do is they have a Discord. So if you guys would be interested in having a Discord to shoot the shit with me and other people and just hang out and talk about anything, suggest me guests, tell me how I can do better, what sucks, what you like, I'll start a Riff Tacos Discord channel. So if you'd be interested in that, leave a comment, let me know. I think that would be cool. I'm working on some merch ideas, and I wanted to wait because it's like, I wanted to build a community around this and, make sure, is it growing? Do people like it? Are they coming back each week? Does anyone even want merch? So I don't want to be asking like, hey, give me money so soon when I haven't even, proven myself that I've been around for a year yet. So I was waiting on that, but like, I want merch. So I'm thinking I'm going to do it soon. So I'll wear a fucking Riff Tacos hat or something. I think I want to do a camo hat with just the taco logo, like the camo hat I wear all the time. It's a really nice one I got on Amazon and it fits really well. So everything I make will be high quality. So it'll be a little more expensive, but like I'd rather make good shit. I want to do like Comfort Colors and the Independent Trading Co. If you have a Robinson hoodie that you bought this last merch drop, you know it's like the comfiest, highest quality hoodie. So everything will be nice like that. I want it to be all nice stuff because I appreciate that, and I hate buying band merch and it's like a crappy T-shirt or something. So look out for a merch store. And if you have any ideas for merch designs, let me know. I'm brainstorming right now. So that'll be coming sooner than later. Also want to do, I know a lot of podcasts. I don't know about how many actually. I know like Brutality podcasts, other people like they'll do like live stream while they podcast. So I was considering adding that maybe for like YouTube members, because it's gonna be a whole nother thing I have to juggle myself. But it would be cool for like members to be able to join us live, like raw and unedited, and hang out while we're recording, and then do a Q&A at the end with members in the chat. So you can spend like 10, 15 minutes with the guests at the end, and I'll pull questions from the chat. So I think that would be cool. Learning how to set that up, because it's a little bit complicated with, I got to set it up on YouTube and then do it through Riverside and whatever, but I'm learning one step at a time. So a year, or not a year, but like 6 months ago when I started this, I had no idea how to run a podcast. So learning as I go, but I think it's going fairly well so far, minus the few technical issues I had on a couple recent episodes. But yeah, so shoot me a message, let me know, comment on Instagram, or you can always email me too. If you have guest suggestions or anything, tell me what I'm doing right and wrong. It's just paul@rifftacos.com. I'd love to hear from everybody about anything and everything. So yeah, before I go, I wanted to talk about this new project that Mike and I are working on. The one thing about ThunderRider is I really loved it, but we did not spend much time developing that sound. And I hear, what I would go back and change and what was great about it now and whatever. But I always wanted to do a sequel to it, whether it be actual ThunderRider or not, and like really develop what that band could have and should have been, and actually learn how to play a fucking blues based solo. And I'm much better than I was then, much better at songwriting and shit in general. So when I was in Austin, I wrote like 10 demos for this kind of band, and I dropped the tuning a little bit lower. It's drop B instead of drop C is what we were in. But I always knew that like I would love Mike to sing over it. And we messaged back and forth a few times about doing something. It never panned out. So I had these 10 demos sitting around literally for like, what is it, 7 years now? So I started them in 2018 and finished them by 2020, I think. And it's just been sitting there all this time. So after connecting with Mike for him coming on the podcast, he talked about wanting to do something. And I was like, well, I wanted you to sing on this always, and I wanted to do a better version of ThunderRider, even if we call it something else, whatever it is. So he was like, yes, I'm down. And we talked about that. We went out to dinner and hung out and just kind of worked it out. So we're planning to do a new EP. I'm not sure how many songs it will turn out to be right now. We're probably aiming for like 4 or 5 at least. So yeah, we have some shit cooking. I'm going to pull from those old demos. A lot of them still, like, I could gut them and take a few parts here and there. So it's going to be some new stuff, some older shit from that. And it will be ThunderRider-ish, and just kind of what we always could have and would have done with that had we stuck around and I didn't move away and see where it could have gone. But it's going to be a 2-man project for now, kind of just like a passion project. I'm going to do all of the music, and he's going to do the vocals, and then we'll work out a vision and a name for the band and what it's going to be. He's really good at all that stuff, so I'll kind of let him run with it because he nailed ThunderRider and killed it. So if it comes to like playing shows and stuff, I know we're not just interested in like just doing the local band thing and just playing bars in Youngstown here or anything. So we're making this for us, and we're going to put it out obviously and promote it and probably make an Instagram and everything. So if people dig it and it makes sense, then it's like, yeah, we'll play shows. And I know like Nick expressed to me interest in playing for it. And obviously I'm not going to go with anyone else. Like if we're going to do the full band thing, I'd want Nick to be a part of it. But for now, we're doing the bedroom project thing, just writing and developing the sound. And, we're not trying to add another like band practice every week or, with everything else going on in our lives. I know Mike works a ton too. So, developing the project, he's building like a vocal booth in his basement, and getting his chops back. I know he hasn't sang since the last ThunderRider, so he's working on that. I know he's going to kill it though. And yeah, I have 2 songs written and a bunch of demos to pull apart and gut. So I'm really stoked to get to work on something different and just fun. Like that was the essence of ThunderRider, was that it was just fucking fun. And I think that's why people who have heard it and liked it and came to our shows back in the day connected with it, because it's just dirty beer drinking rock and roll. And the world needs more of that. Some fucking manly, meaty riffs and just simple and fun. So don't quote me on it, but I hope to have the whole thing at least demoed out and done, and maybe even out by the end of summer. But I think fall is a good target. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. It's going to be in the vein of ThunderRider. Check that out if you haven't. If you're into that kind of stuff, it's on streaming everywhere now. And listen to my terrible, shitty solo before it gets replaced with the correct one, who was done by Chris Wilson. So shout out to him. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me today. If you're enjoying the show, please remember to hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. Like the episode, leave a rating, share it with a friend, all that good stuff. It's the best way to support me right now. And keep an eye out for everything that I mentioned coming up. We'll see you on the next one.